Hey, what's up? This is Matt with Let's Talk Music. I'm here with Mirko and Mike of Witch's Brew. They're joining us from Italy today. Guys, how we doing?
All right, how are you?
I'm
Thanks
doing
for having
well.
Thanks
So,
for having us. I'm doing great.
Witch's Brew. You guys are kind of a like an 80s rock band type thing.
That's what they say. I don't really know if I like to label myself. I just consider ourselves as a rock and roll band.
Yeah. Well, like that's like my wheelhouse, man. That's my favorite era of music. Bands like Skid Row, Dangerous Toys, Enough's Enough.
We've
Um,
been we've been compared to them a lot.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that you guys,
Well, that's not too bad, is it?
well,
Exactly.
your style kind of makes me, puts me in mind of those bands. It just like I said, that's my favorite area or era. So, when I heard your song when they sent it to me, I was like, oh yeah, love these guys. Gotta talk to them.
That's cool. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. That's where we're coming from. As you can see, we're not young kids, so those sounds are in our ears, are in our brains. Can't get rid of them. Once you listen to a certain kind of music for long enough, it gets into your DNA. And whatever comes out is what you know. You know
Oh
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yep. Yep. That's I mean, I'm open to everything. I listen to metalcore, I listen to industrial rock, I listen to pretty much anything, but
Of course.
that is my favorite era is the Skid Rows, the Lynch Mobs, bands like that. So tell me about the
Absolutely. Absolutely.
oh so tell me about the new single. Duh. It's still early here, buddy. See you next time.
Yeah. Well, that's the new single from the album that just came out on the 20th of September.
Hmm.
And it's part of the album, which is a concept album. So, it's a whole story from beginning to the end, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure you guys have probably heard of Queensryche.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one that I
Yeah.
always think of when people say it's a story from beginning to end. Because I mean, Operation Mindcrime was like one of the greatest story albums.
Operation Mindcrime, huh?
Yes, sir.
They're
So
from the pond.
what is it?
They're from this side of the pond.
Yeah,
It
yeah. So you guys, this is your fourth studio album,
is.
and how's the reception been? You guys getting good feedback and good reviews on it?
We're getting great feedbacks. It's been the album was actually ready more than a year ago, but with the COVID and all that bullshit, there was no way of promoting it. So the
Mhm.
label decided to hold it back for better times. Now that everything is opening again, we released it, and we're gonna start promoting it pretty soon. For promoting, I mean live gigs. And but so far the reviews are great. People are liking
Yeah.
it. People are digging it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I downloaded the album and yeah, really enjoyed it. You know,
Thanks.
the I'm gonna have to say uh Redneck Saloon was probably my favorite.
Yeah, because we all know what it's talking.
So, I mean, how long you guys been together? How long has Witch's Brew been a band?
Which is great. We've been a band for about 13 years, if I don't go wrong. And but there's been a few switches in the lineup, and
Mhm.
Mark is the latest coming in. Is the new singer, which is not new anymore because he's been in a while as well. And that's about it. We've been doing what we do.
So, where was you at before this, buddy?
Well, before I found it,
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Yeah, yeah. Mark, what band were you with before?
Well, you see, I lived uh, uh, next to the Swiss border, and I've always had bands in Switzerland. And I was in Doom Timeline Theory before this. I played I was with them for about 4 years, and one day I came home, and Perry, which is our bass player, just texted me a message, and he said, "Hey, listen, we're looking for a singer, but he has to know English, like mother tongue, native speaker." And I said, "Well, that's fine for me, but what are your plans? What you want to do?" So I stopped by and we spoke about it, and it was really interesting because I love the music. I just love the plan, the project that Witches Brew had, at the time. And I decided to switch over, and it was a good choice. It was fantastic, right? Actually,
Awesome. So the name Witch's Brew, how did you
yeah.
guys come up with that?
Well, that's because of the kind of approach
That's
we have.
Mirko.
That's because of the kind of approach we have to music, which is brew is a sort of a big pot in which you throw anything in it,
Mm-hmm.
hoping that something good comes out of it. And that's how we approach music and life in general. So it sounded fit.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely
Mm.
as you guys said, that's what we're compared to is the 80s. And I mean, that is definitely, that name would fit in back then.
Yeah, yeah. Well, once again,
But I mean, you guys just, I mean, like I said, yeah, you just like to play music, and that's great. I understand, it's I think everybody musically can be compared to someone, something, like, oh, this one sounds like, well, the band that Virtual Symmetry that I just did, they're compared to Dream Theater, which,
yeah,
they're, they absolutely love it because, that's what they kind of were going for is like a cinematic progressive rock.
yeah. I don't particularly love it to be compared to other bands because that's not what I'm going for.
Right.
Because I just play what I feel it's right for us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't. My thought
Yeah.
is not
Well,
gonna be like.
that's a nice thing.
Sorry, Mark, interrupted you.
Oh, go ahead.
I don't like to be compared to other bands,
No.
even though
Sorry.
there is some semblances. But
Go
go
ahead.
ahead, Mark.
No, that's a nice thing about Witch's Brew. I mean, uh, we just get into into the mood immediately. Each one of us has obviously got a different background, music background. And
Mm-hmm.
the nice thing about it is that when we write a song, you can actually hear that, and that is the nice thing about it because, and that's what Mirko was saying. It's difficult to compare us to anybody else because whatever I listen to is different to anybody else, and whatever Mirko listens to in his life is different from anybody else's. So, and that's the beauty of it. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
when we write a song, it's completely original. I mean, it's fantastic, and that's a great part of it. Everybody's
I
free
agree.
to write and to you know play whatever they want to.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's just I guess like, it was said that, it's burned into your DNA. So when I hear something to your type of music, it makes me think of, what I grew up on. So,
So,
not really trying to make a comparison with anybody. I just, it's more of that's my style. I like some of the new stuff. I never thought that I would be into the screaming music, like the metalcore, but I have been. But like just back in the day, man, that's this. It was every day I was throwing on, Metallica, Megadeth, Skid Row, stuff like that, and it is very burned into my DNA. People,
you know, you know your stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and so I mean, how long have you been, into music, man? I mean, when did you decide that this is what I want to do?
Me personally, it's forever. I can't pinpoint a date or something. I got my first guitar when I was like 13 or 14, and that's all I always wanted to do, and that's what
Yeah.
I've for my life.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I was in my room at night. I used to go to bed and just listen to music and listen to music. I used to get up and just pretend I was in this like enormous stage in front of hundred thousands of people, and singing, and that was, I just always did that since I was like I was like 11 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had that dream too. I've just never been able to pursue it.
Well, you should. Well, you should.
Yeah, I mean, you're never too old. I mean, I'm not a spring chicken myself anymore, so but for me, this is my, crack at music, as being able to talk to musicians and find out what makes them tick, and where you guys drew your influence from, where you got the idea to just say, you know what, I'm gonna be a singer, or I'm gonna be a guitar player. It's just, I love hearing the stories. Especially how, you guys, your writing process. Tell me about that. Like, I mean, how does you come in and you lay down the music, and then you come in with the lyrics, or do you start with the lyrics and they lay down the music? How do you guys do your writing process?
Every time is different. We don't follow a recipe. We just get into the rehearsal studio and we start jamming, and whatever sounds good sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Mark is in charge of all the lyrics all the time because he's the singer and because he's a book writer. So who's better than him at that?
The nice thing about living in this era, we've got technology, we've got WhatsApp, we've obviously got a group, on WhatsApp, the band group, and every now and again, hey, somebody posts an idea, I listen to this, what do you think of it? And then we hear it, we listen to it, then we get into the rehearsal studio, and then we work on that, but all together,
Mm-hmm.
based on that idea. And then we start, there's the drums, the bass, the guitar, and once that's fine, I try to sing something, on top. We always record it, like we've got the phones and stuff like that. We record the song, and then we think about it. But usually during one rehearsal, the song is ready.
Nice.
That's right. That's right.
We have to perfect it, maybe just perfect it for the next time, but we can easily write a song.
Yeah, and I gotta credit the whole band for being writers, because they all put in 100%. It's not like one writes the song and it's like that. It starts out as an idea and everybody works on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and sometimes like we got the song, we think it's great, and then somebody comes up and say, how about if we modify this part or the other or whatever, and it sounds better, and that's the way it is.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good, as good an explanation as you can get. I mean, it's how, and that's what I think is great about bands and musicianship, is that, you have a group of guys, girls, whatever, that have all these creative ideas, and, you get in a room and you can sit there and get along with each other, saying, well, I like your idea, but let's just put this little tweak on it. And then the other person, oh yeah, well, I like that too, so I think,
Right. We got in mind. We're friends most of all. So, we're not like one person trying to prevail on the others. It's just like, this is my idea. What do you think?
right.
And anybody can say, yeah, it sucks. Let's not do it. No, fine. Good enough. Fair enough. Let's try something else. I wouldn't get offended. You know what I'm saying? We just try it out.
Yeah. It works. It works perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the biggest important thing, I mean, it's how, you create great music. It's, ideas that people come up with, and, get in a room and do it all together. And then at the end, you can say, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I find,
and if one night is not awesome and it actually sucks, it doesn't matter. We were the four of us together drinking a beer and playing some music. You know what I'm saying?
There's a magic part to all of this. And the magic part is each one of us, puts whatever they want to in composing a song. But whatever you put, your part contributes to the rest. And the magic part is you actually perform, and you do, and you play, and you sing whatever, what you feel. Okay. So each one of us does that. And in the end, what you hear, the actual song, transfers this feeling. I mean, it's something magical. When I sing, a melody, okay, I think it in my mind, and then I sing the tune over the actual music,
Mm-hmm.
and I sing what I feel. And I think it's the same for the other guys. They actually, like Mirko plays the guitar, whatever he feels, it comes from your guts. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
And that is the magic part of it, because when somebody listens to you, they can actually feel your feeling. You know what I'm trying to get at? It's
Mm-hmm.
You transmit something, and that is the magic part, and that's what people like, and that's what we also like doing. It's
Yeah.
not just like singing or playing because it's a C minor and that's what the note that you have to put on there. No, it's what you actually feel. Okay, it's different, and that's the magic part of it.
Mark is 100% right. We all know rock and roll doesn't come from your brain, but it comes from your guts and your heart. So if you study it,
Absolutely.
you're out of line.
Well, fellas, I'm going to have to say that's probably one of the greatest explanations I've ever heard.
Well, I
I,
tried my best.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. Music is a feeling.
Absolutely.
I actually at one point wrote a blog that how does music make you feel? And put in that down the different emotions, and like a band that could, you know, in my time or in my mind, that really, you know, made me feel that emotion. And I think if you're a true fan of music, then every song that you hear can make you feel a certain way, whether it makes you think of something that happened 20 years ago, or
I, I
today,
agree 100%.
right, today's going to be a good day. It just depends. I mean, hell, you can even listen to stuff when you're pissed off, and like, oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. You can do stuff that you want to get pissed off. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
yeah. So I mean, and it's just I admire, everybody that is able to put forth that talent and that effort and that creativity, and um especially bands that write songs, I think, more for themselves than they do the fans. I mean, it's great to have these anthems and stuff, or these songs that you can dance to or blah blah blah, but I think it's really important when a musician puts themselves out there and they say, you know what, during the making of this album, this happened, and I want to throw this song in there, and it's my therapy.
Sure. That's exactly what it's like. First, you got to like it yourself. You
Hmm.
know, if you don't like it yourself, you can feel it. You can sense it if you're just doing it as a job. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it is a job, which
it's
people don't really look at that. They're just like, here's a group of guys out here drinking beer, playing music, and having the time of their life. I wish I could do that, but then you got to think of all the work that goes into it, though. I mean,
Yo, yeah,
oh yeah. But I
the
meant was a regular job, actually, or something. You just go there just for the dough. We do it because we enjoy doing it.
yeah.
Mhm.
We love it. We love it. Yeah,
Well, there is the saying that if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
yeah.
I, I gotta agree with that.
So what what we looking forward to in 2023? You guys getting out and play some gigs? What's going on?
We do. We're actually waiting for some visas to go play in England because now with the Brexit, you need working visas. It's all different from last year and whatever. So we
Hmm.
just sent passport to England and we're supposed to get the visas any day now. So from the end of January, we're starting this tour in England and Ireland. And then we're coming back for a little while. And then we're supposed to be doing Holland and Germany
Okay.
and a few days here and there in Italy as well.
Yeah.
So is there like any chance you guys might make it over this way?
We love to.
Hopefully, hopefully. Yeah.
Love to.
Well, I tell you, I know that they're quite getting quite big in Europe too, is the festivals.
Oh
Actually,
yeah.
you guys had them before we did, and these festivals here that you get 50, 60, 70 bands playing for 3 days on three different stages and whatever, and I mean it's a blast,
It
and
is.
and you get to, I mean, I've talked to guys that have been on these festivals, and they're talking about, here we are, this little band that played on the, little stage over here, but now we're rubbing elbows with, Judas Priest or somebody like that. And I'm
Or
like, that's awesome. And it's like, they're talking about how they make contacts and whatever. And, so the festivals, I think, are just as important, if not more important, for the musicians than it is the fans, because, when you're an up and coming band, or, you're trying to make your way, one, you're getting seen by thousands of people. Two,
Oh yeah.
you're making contacts and rubbing elbows with bands that have already been there, so
that's
yeah.
right. And we have a few of them lined up, but I can't anticipate anything until it's 100% sure. You
Mm-hmm.
know, then shit happens. Like last year, we were supposed to open at a festival in Florence or in Milan, don't recall now, and we were supposed to open for the Foo Fighters, but then we all know what happened to that band. The drummer died and all that, so we skipped that. But we got a few big things lined up in festivals in Europe as well.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I said, it's I actually, I feel like festivals, other than, the time at the 3 day thing, because 3 days of jamming the rock and roll and stuff, man, you're a little wore out when you go back to work on Monday.
Hell yeah.
But
But still,
it,
you only live once. Come on, fuck it, just go
yeah,
for it.
true. But it's a great way to, you know, for bands to just get out there, man, and play. And I know that after COVID happened, one of the things that was said here in my hometown of Columbus was, uh, the local radio station come on, and they said, look, there's going to be this show. They're allowing us to do this. Everybody needs to follow the rules so that we can continue to have shows. And then, like, towards the end of it, he's just like, people need the music and the musicians need the people. And,
Right.
we need to get out there. And I thought, man, that was so cool, and it worked out. People listened. They, nobody was like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that, and finally the
Well,
regulations relax.
for traders, and I don't know, you will never hear me saying let's follow the rules, but you know, if you gotta play, you gotta play.
Right. And I mean, it was at that time, at that point in time, man, is everything was shut down. Nobody had any interaction with each other and stuff. And it was just like, man, when that, those first shows started, coming out, that they were sold out like that. It didn't matter if it was, a local band or if it was a national band. It was sold out because people wanted to get out and be amongst each other.
Yeah.
Right.
People need that. People need that.
Yeah.
We actually did a couple of gigs during COVID, the few that were allowed to be done, and it was packed.
Mm-hmm.
Packed because people wanted to go out.
So
Yeah.
what's your guys' like your crowd demographic like? Is it a mix of young and older, or just, I mean, what do you typically see out there?
I'd say so. Yeah, I don't think our music has really an age. It's not like the newest gender ever. So young people like us, and people like our age like us.
You mean
You know,
young?
so,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, well, I
yeah,
mean, like, honestly, do you know who Tesla is?
Yeah.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
I had been trying for years and years and years to go see them, and every time I did, something came up and I wasn't able to go. So recently they was here, and I finally got to go, and I took my stepdaughter with me, and she was at the time, I want to say 16. And I'm tell you, there was people that were my age, and then people that had brought their kids and this and that, and everybody was just jamming, and
Exactly what I
it,
mean. Because they're just a rock and roll band. They're not like a specific something. They're just Tesla. They're rock and roll.
right, right. And she's kind of standoffish, but she was like, she had a really good time. I mean, uh normally if I take her to a show, she's like, okay, can we go when, towards the last couple songs or whatever. But she was like, she had a really good time. And, I actually got to kind of fulfill one of my dreams of seeing Tesla, because I've loved that band since they started.
Me too. Me too. Always
Yeah.
thought they were. I always thought they were great.
So, you know, we're looking at, next year you're talking about getting out on some tours or whatever. How about singles? You going to release some more singles from the album, or is it just an album release and that's it?
No, I'm not. I'm not sure we're going to release any more singles because the one we just released, like last week, is the third single we released,
Okay.
and company is already talking about issuing a new album for September
Oh, wow.
next. So now I think we're going to be concentrating on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Album
Yeah.
singles are out. There's no point in putting out like 5 different singles once the album is out.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Plus, you were talking about the pandemic and all the rest. Even though we were also forced to take a break, we actually never stopped. We kept on writing music, and we've got a lot of material. We are working on it at the moment, and we've got a few songs that will work in the new album.
Well, and I think that was one of the positives to the pandemic, as far as where musicians go, is, you guys were just sequestered like everybody else. And, you're sitting there and like, man, I got this idea. And that's what's great about modern technology is, you can write your lyrics and you can send it over to Mirko, and he can sit there and he can, you can Zoom and he can jam. Like, what do you think of that? And I think that was a great opportunity for musicians that really were able to kind of slow down. You know what I mean? They weren't under the pressure to put out this and that.
Right.
They was able to slow down and really, I think, make memorable and great music.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you said, technology helps a lot in these cases. In fact, you can easily like do what we are doing right now, like just jam a bit and, hey, I've got an idea, listen to this and I'll sing on it. And you can do that nowadays, and that's fantastic. So we actually never stopped. We continued producing material, and we've got it there. Yeah.
And it was, like I said, things were they were slower now, and you were able to, I think musicians were able to fine tune it more than what they normally can. You know what I mean? So, it was, I guess that was the one benefit to that whole disaster.
Yeah, if you got a little, yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
So, like, when you guys get together in the studio, man, it's who does like your mastering and your mixing? Is it a well-known company out there, or just somebody that you guys know? Or
Well, we signed a contract with Universal, which is a major company, and our producer is Pietro Foresti. He's pretty popular and pretty big. He worked for the likes of Guns N' Roses and Red Hot Chili Peppers and
nice.
big names. And he's the one producing. He produced our last album, and he's going to be producing our new.
Yeah. It was great working with him, eh? Really, really great. Because you can only learn from a person like that,
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, you guys, you've been in music for quite a while, and like when you're working with somebody like that, is there that little bit of starstruck? Like, oh man, this guy's got so much infinite wisdom, and do you
Not really my case, because I know Pietro Foresti since we were kids.
Oh, really?
Then he moved to LA. I moved to New York. We haven't seen each other in years, decades. And then we met again. We moved back to Italy, both of us, without knowing it. And then we bumped into each other. And we said, well, yeah, you're doing this. Yeah, I'm doing that. Yeah, let's do something. So we're mates.
Sounds like destiny.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'll tell you what, I have learned recently. I just started working with a few of the labels over there, and I've really come to appreciate the styles and music that thank you for what you do. It wouldn't be it's just like I without Zoom and without meeting these, talking to these publicists and stuff, it wouldn't be, I don't think it'd really be possible for me to have heard, of Witch's Brew,
Yeah.
or Virtual Symmetry or any of the other bands that I've done from over there, and I love being exposed to the culture, the difference of how musicians from Europe are than United States. I've done a couple from Brazil, Canada. I mean, it's fun. It
That's
is.
fantastic. That's fantastic. You know what? You know what? We thank you. We thank you because what you do is great. You do an amazing job. I mean, as you said, you are able to connect with all the world basically, and you can speak to anyone you want to, and that's another magic part of the whole business, because you are able, as you said, to get to know bands from all over, different cultures, different ways of composing music, writing music, and all the rest. And this is absolutely great. It's absolutely great because you let your followers know, get to know what we do, what people from Brazil do, what people from, I don't know, from Canada, from the Europe do. It's amazing. It's really amazing. So we thank you. I mean, it's a great
Absolutely.
job.
That's almost ear to ear there, guys. Thank you for that. That makes me feel awesome.
You are.
And it's a big community, man. Music is.
Oh
It's
yeah. Oh
the
yeah.
fans, the everybody involved. It's a big community, and I think that helping each other out in any way that we can is part of that community. So me doing this to get it up on YouTube, even if 20, 30, 40, 100 people see it, at least now there's 20, 30, 40, 100 people saying, wow, Witches Brew is really cool. I want to download their album, or I want to go do this, I want to do that, and I think that it's one of the most tight knit communities rock and roll is, and out of everything. I mean, you got country, you got rap, you got R&B and whatever, but I mean, I absolutely have heard it so many times about rock and roll's community, and again, it stretches all around the world.
It's a brotherhood. That's what
Yes,
it is.
it is. It truly is. And I like I said, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate what you do. Um,
Thank you.
you
Thank you.
know,
Yeah,
it's a to me, this is like just the ultimate joy is to sit down on Sunday morning and talk to guys about their music and their passion for it. So just one final question, we'll wrap it up. um who really influenced you guys, when you first started, and who influences you now?
Um, my influences have never changed. It's not the then and now. Being my age, I was influenced by all the late 60s and early 70s bands. We're talking Sabbath, we're talking Purple, we're talking Uriah Heep, and all that. And all that came before that, like the Yardbirds and whatever was available at that time.
Right.
That's why we sound so much like, maybe you were saying, an 80s band, because all the 80s bands were inspired by them.
Right.
And so are we. So we're not trying to copy the 80s band. We're just on that same level of knowledge,
Well, and
Yeah.
like you said, man, it's in my DNA. So it's like when I hear that, that's what I go to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It comes natural.
Mm-hmm. How about you, Mark? Who's your influences?
Yeah. I would put in my list the same bands as Mirko put, but I also listen to what you listen to, like that's new metal and all the latest bands and stuff like that. I'm always in search and for new stuff because I like to be inspired, okay, by whatever is new on the market, because of different sounds, different ways of singing, different way, because singing has changed a lot during the decades, and I find that singers nowadays use their voices in a completely different way from what they did 40, 50 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And that to me is so interesting, like true folds, the false folds, and the distorting your voice and stuff like that. And this you find, you do find it in bands from the 80s, the 70s, and stuff like that. Absolutely. But you find it a lot in bands nowadays. And I'm interested in listening to the different ways they perform this, different ways they use their voices, different sounds, and all the rest. So I must say, I listen to a lot of new stuff
That's awesome.
and old stuff, obviously. That's where I was born.
Right, right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank you very much.
again, love the music, love the whole album.
Appreciate
And I wish nothing but the best for you guys. And hopefully, you can make it over here and play. If not, maybe I can get my way over there someday and see y'all.
Yeah, lovely,
it.
lovely.
Yeah. But we'll get over there sooner or later. Don't worry about that.
Sweet, sweet. Yeah, because I mean, honestly, if I could promote and had the resources to do that, every band I've interviewed would be on a stage, that a 3-day festival.
That'd be
Wow.
That would be something awesome, man. I
That's
just
awesome. Awesome.
well.
All right,
Yeah.
guys. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot for having us.
All
Thanks.
right.
Thank you. Later.
Bye. Bye-bye.